Okay. It is 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum, so we'll call City Council meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the invocation given by Councilman Gilmore, and then the pledge to both the American and Texas flags will be given by Cub Scout Pack 233, who is sponsored by First United Methodist Church of Louisville. If you will, please join us.
We've spent the last few weeks looking at all the things that we are thankful for, and if you would join me in a moment of reflection for all the ways that we may be able to help other people be thankful for us as we move into the Christmas season. Please join me in a moment of silence. Amen.
You want to come down to the front? I'll just turn the meeting over to you. How about that?
All right. There we go.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. We sure appreciate your service to our community. Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Should have given a name no more.
Your kids right now?
Next item on the agenda is the public hearing, consideration of an ordinance to tax certain tangible personal property identification as goods in transit, which would otherwise be exempt pursuant to the Texas Code Section 11.253. The first special session of the 82nd session of the Texas Legislature passed Senate Bill 1, SB 1, this year, and within this comprehensive budget bill was language amending the Texas Property Tax Code as it concerns a certain tangible personal property exemption called the Goods in Transit Exemption. Currently, Louisville does not offer a Good in Transit exemption, having passed an ordinance in 2007 to maintain tax on all goods in transit. SB 1 requires the governing body to hold a new public hearing and another vote to continue taxing the property. Recommendation is that council approve the ordinance as set forth in the above caption. City Manager, would you kind of give us a little briefing on this, an update on this, and what the research you've done on this?
Well, this is a bill that the legislature passed to presumably remain competitive with warehouse facilities that were along the Texas-New Mexico border, where several New Mexican warehouses had sprung up, and New Mexico does not have a tax on this particular type of property, so they enjoyed a competitive advantage over those locations, which were primarily Texas warehouses in El Paso. The legislature structured this so that you have to have a public hearing and pass the resolution as it's worded. You've taxed these goods for as long as I can remember, for years. There's been no exemption, so it's not any kind of a new tax. This would just simply be exempting something that was not exempt before, similar to the Freeport. In fact, this is in some places called the super Freeport because it adds this additional definition to it. It's a little bit watered down from prior proposals at the legislature, but it still exempts a significant amount of property in Louisville that's not currently exempt, in addition to the Freeport, which amounts to a substantial sum, and strictly boils down to a financial impact question for you as to whether or not you want to absorb the exemption through passing those lost revenues on to other users in the form of higher tax rates or reduced services or reduced costs of services. And it's just like any other exemption from that standpoint. So Brenda's attached a survey of jurisdictions within the immediate area, both ISDs and cities, and you'll see that the vast majority of them are continuing to tax these goods. In other words, passing the resolution as it's worded, and that's what we're recommending as well.
Okay, I did not have any cards filled out on it, so entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
A motion by Councilman Green to close the public hearing, a second by Councilman Vaughn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Councilman Vaughn?
Yes, sir.
You have a recommendation on this?
Yes, sir. Mayor, I recommend that the council approve the ordinance as set forth in the above caption.
Is that in the motion?
I make a motion that the
Yes, sir.
council approve the ordinance as set forth in the above caption.
Second. We have a motion by Councilman Vaughn, a second by Councilman Durham. Any discussion?
I would like to make a comment. In my personal view, there is no difference between, I'm just going to pull out a number, $100,000 in your bank account or $100,000 that you've bought widgets for to try to resell and make a profit. It's your money. And to me, this is just another form of income tax. It shouldn't matter if it's on the pallet floor or in the bank on their pallet in forms of dollars, or electronically, I guess, in their computers. To me, that is as I said, another form of income tax, and I just don't like seeing those things that I've already done. Even the federal government only taxes you on your profit between what you've spent to buy those widgets and what you ended up selling them for. So just because there are widgets of some sort, whatever you may have purchased, and we're taxing them, again, I don't want to get into the income tax thing. I would love to see it change. I'd love the whole state to see it change. So I will be voting against this for that principal reason.
I'll just add one thing. This is a property tax. It's not an
This is-
income tax.
This is not a real
And if you want to
property
change
tax.
the income or the tax structure the way it is, then you're going to change everything. Because if you do what you're talking about,
Yep.
every home is in the same situation.
No,
So there'd be no taxes on your home,
No, this is different.
no taxes on your land.
This is different. This
You're
is
not
the
producing
tax.
anything on your land.
Everybody is taxed on their land for,
Everybody is taxed on this too.
are they taxing your couch and your TV because you have one?
Everything that's taxable is being taxed.
This is not real property. This is personal property.
Agreed?
To me, that is a paradigm that I do not agree with.
Okay, then you don't agree with the property tax system in Texas?
If real property, I can see it because everybody pays it. But personal property,
So to fix this, would you tax the
if we're up to me,
person's property in their house?
no.
So you don't tax any business?
You're going to tax somebody more because they're wearing a Rolex versus,
No, I don't know,
Timex?
most business owners don't wear Rolexes. But, and
Then
it's
this-
not an envy deal here. Do you want to tax personal property or not?
there are tons of types of personal
Just-
property? No, I do not.
No personal property?
No.
Okay.
Real property, I can see that because everybody's doing it. It's part of the community. But, and I respect your position on that, but
I'm just saying you got to change the state law. If you want to not tax any,
are we allowed to
First-
exempt it?
yeah.
Okay, I respect your opinion.
I'm just
Respect mine.
saying, you want to tax personal property or you don't want to tax it?
Not personal property.
Any
No,
of
'cause
it.
No, I mean, why? You've worked hard, you earned it, you paid for it, you paid the
Okay.
taxes on it, and then just because you went from dollars to buying something, you have to start paying taxes because you converted it to something you purchased? To me, that's just
Mayor, call for the vote.
Well, city manager has something on. if you
Well,
want to
just
say.
two items to bring to your attention. I don't know if they'll have any bearing on anything, but there is a potential loss of revenue associated with granting the exemption, of course. That would be something you'd have to deal with next year. The appraisal district's estimated it as possibly up to $600,000 a year, and that's a substantial loss of revenue. That's multiple police officers, multiple cents on the tax rate. So voting for an exemption, you're basically looking at cutting services or
How
doing
much
something.
did you say that was?
$600,000
Okay, and we
a
have
year.
like a budget of almost 100 million?
Yeah, but it's a penny on the
Okay.
tax rate.
And
No, no,
we're
no,
spending
no,
like
but-
160,000
hold
on
on,
a
John, hold on,
consultant?
John. You're
General
not
fund,
comparing-
general
right.
fund only, general fund only.
You're not comparing apples to apples.
Right.
We do not have a general fund budget of 100 million. Nowhere close to it.
No, just our operating budget. I mean, it's fine.
No, the operating budget's nowhere close to 100 million.
All of our money is what I'm talking about. That's okay.
Right.
So anyhow, that's point number one, is that I think you have to be prepared to deal with the budget impacts. Number two, because we only have a four-member council, the 3-1 vote will vacate the emergency clause, so I have to read it two more times before the end of the year. We'll have to schedule a special meeting to do the second reading.
Okay, call for the vote.
And one other thing before you got, I know you did, and I'm sorry. I believe in the last budget, revenue for personal property tax was in the millions of dollars, not 600,000. Just this one particular item was 600,000. It was several million dollars, so if we had the several million dollar shortfall, we would either have to raise taxes on people's property to make up for the loss of revenue, or we would have to cut services. So at some point in time, you have to decide, okay, are we going to quit collecting the money we've been collecting and charge somebody else a higher rate, or are we going to just quit providing the services that we've been providing?
Point of
All exemptions,
clarification.
all exemptions shift the burden of taxation to somebody else. Where
Right.
it, on the residential exemption, it shifts it to the business sector. This is a business exemption, which shifts it back to the residential.
Point of clarification. Are we talking about all personal property in everybody's warehouse, even the stuff that Walmart is selling? Are we talking about the
No,
thing?
no, we're
Okay.
talking about, this particular one is goods in transit as
That's what
defined
I'm
by the
talking about.
legislature.
So it's not even all personal property tax, it's just stuff.
Oh, I was just going by your
can I
statement of
ask-
it being fair. You were saying you want to be fair, you didn't think we should tax any personal property.
I don't know.
And
But I mean,
so
also think we don't
If we
need
do that,
to
then
be.
it's me. I was just going by what you said.
I hear you, and I agree. I agree, that's what it is, but that's what I said. But I also don't think we need to be spending $160,000 on a facilitator, and there's a lot of things that would add up to that 600,000 that he's talking
I don't
about.
know that we've ever spent $160,000 on a facilitator.
You just proved it at the last budget, and I asked you what the 2025 facilitator, 160,000 was for, and you said it was a
I
facilitator.
think we need to have another workshop.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Call for the vote, Mayor.
I'll tell you what, real quick, sorry.
We've
One-
had to vote, call to vote,
Oh,
have a motion and a second.
Point
All
of-
in favor?
point of
Mayor,
order.
Mayor, I need to read the caption.
I'm sorry, read the caption.
Point of
please,
order.
Mayor.
Point of order.
Point of order has been called to call the vote. The vote's been called.
I just want to clarify something.
The vote
If
is
we
being
have
called.
a 3-1 vote, it's going to be,
Counselor, would you please just go ahead and read the?
fine, then. Let it be
Yes,
3
Mayor.
more.
And this is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, to tax certain tangible personal property identified as goods in transit, which would otherwise be exempt pursuant to Texas Tax Code Section 11.253, providing for other matters relating thereto, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to vote aye for it, too, just so we don't have to have another meeting, but under, you know my reasons why.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
There's 4
Let
of us.
me call the vote again. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
That'll avoid another meeting, right?
Okay.
All right. Trying to save the money.
Next item on the agenda is visitor citizen forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. I do have one card filled out. Mr. Hart, if you'd like to come forward, sir. If you would, just state your name and address for the record, please, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Macau Hart. I'm a program recruiter for Texas Mentor. Address is 10935 Estate Lane, Suite 253, Dallas, Texas, 75235. I'm here to represent as far as talking in behalf of foster care, recruiting in the Louisville area. Basically something a lot of people don't know about what is fostering. Basically fostering is substitute care. And with that, with CPS removing children from the foster care, their basic main objective is to reunite the kids with their biological parents. Issues in the community here in the Louisville area. Denton County actually has about 350 removals from the home in Denton County. With that demographic, the age range from 0 to 17, all demographics and all races. With recruiting aspects is that how can the city of Louisville help is refer future foster parents to one of the agencies here in the Metroplex. And also with that, an issue with referring, if an individual or a family is referred to our agency and they go through and be presented as a foster parent, we as an agency we do a referral fee for that family which were referred to. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for your work, too.
Thank you.
Next item is consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I do not have any cards filled out. Councilman Durham?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Greenup.
Mayor, can I ask a
Yes.
question at this
Yes,
point?
discussion.
I would like I was reading the information that was provided to us, and I'd like to ask the fire chief, what is a Zodiac motor?
Mayor, if we're going to we need to pull that off the consent agenda, don't we? If we're going to talk about it?
Well,
Hold on.
That's correct.
Okay, if we're going to talk
okay,
about
all
that,
right, let's not pull it off.
You can get with him after the meeting. How's that?
Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 6. Consideration of ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 2, Article 8, Section 2-201, fee schedule related to solid waste rates. On January 26, 2004, Waste Management entered into an agreement to provide residential and commercial solid waste collection. The agreement allows for cost or service adjustment based upon the Dallas-Fort Worth Urban Consumer Price Index. The CPI adjustment for 2012 is 3.65%. The rate adjustment is effective January 1st, 2012. Although the rate adjustment to Waste Management is by contract, the city must set the customer rates for residential and commercial customers. Staff recommends that the customer rates be increased to correspond to the CPI of 3.65%. Councilman Green?
Move to approve as mentioned.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Green to approve as presented, a second by Councilman Gilmore. Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 2, Article 8, Section 2-201, fee schedule for solid waste collection, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, just for the citizens, I'd like to make one comment on that.
Sure.
Just want to know that basically what that is from the consent agenda, we had an item go up by 3.65%, and we're adding that directly to the bills, on this item here. So it's just passing that cost on to the consumer. Is that correct? Yep, on the fee schedule.
Okay, item 7 is consideration of a resolution casting Louisville votes for director to the Denton Central Appraisal District Board. The Denton Central Appraisal District has furnished a list of nominated candidates for election to their Board of Directors, as well as a list outlining the 2011 distribution of votes. Votes may be cast for one or more candidates, but cannot exceed the number allocated to the entity in total. The City of Louisville has been allocated 123 votes. The 5 nominees receiving the most votes become the board. Information sheets on the candidates are provided for council's consideration. Each voting unit must cast its vote by December 15th. Recommendation is council consider casting Louisville's votes for director to the Denton Central Appraisal District Board.
Mayor, I'll be abstaining on this since I'm employed by the appraisal district.
Okay. Councilman Gilmore?
Mayor, I'd like to move that we allocate our votes 12 to Mahalik, 12 to Mossman, and the remaining 99 to McCrary, which is a 10-10-80.
Second.
What was the 80?
McCrary?
Okay, we have a motion to allocate 10%. Would you go over that again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
12 votes to Mahalik, 12 votes to Mossman, and the balance, 99 votes to McCrary, please.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Gilmore, and a second by Councilman Grena. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We're down to reports. Nika, anything? Bob? Nothing? Chief?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to let everybody know that starting on December the 10th, Santa will start making his rounds again this year. He's agreed to come back, and that will begin this Saturday, and will continue until we've hit all the neighborhoods and apartment complexes, mobile home parks, and all that in the community. So if you're looking for him, he's going to be out.
That's good to hear, Chief. I know the kids will be excited.
I am too.
I said kids. We're all kids at some point, especially at Christmas time. Melinda? Chief Kerber?
No, sir.
We've gotten some rain now, Carol. Think it helped any?
We got a little bit of help. We about 2/10 of a foot as of this afternoon, but there's still rain that'll come down the river from Gainesville area, so we should see a little bit more increase. So every little bit helps.
Did you say
How much is it short now, Mayor?
2/10 of a foot?
About how low is the lake now? Do you know, Carol, about how?
515.41, that's still about almost 7 feet down.
Almost 7 foot.
522 is conservation.
Not as bad as Lake Levant.
Donna?
Yes, sir. We have some great Christmas programs planned for the MCL Grand this month, including, I have to put my glasses on, Forever Plaid, and that's going to run 3 weekends in a row. That's a very successful musical that has been in New York, and not the same actors, obviously, but that play has been very popular there and will be on 3 consecutive weekends at the MCL Grand. And then we also have a Christmas Spectacular, which is put on by the 3 Redneck Tenors. And the 3 Redneck Tenors were actually finalists on the program America's Got Talent, so they're very well known and put on quite a performance. So we encourage everyone to go online and check out where they can get the tickets and join us for some of our Christmas programming.
Brenda? Mr. Ferris? Councilman Durham?
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Grena?
Just want to let everybody know that early voting is still going on. Tomorrow will be the last day of early voting, and then Saturday, December 10th, will be Election Day, and it's all being held at the Louisville Library. And also want to add on to Chief Tittle's announcement about Santa Claus. The way you'll know about it is you're going to hear all these sirens coming down your street. So, when you hear it and stuff, go out there, but make sure the kids don't run out in the street. Just kind of watch for them because they're doing their best to be as safe as possible, but with all the cars and everything on the streets, we want to make sure safety is ultimate. Thank you.
Councilman Gilmore?
This December 6th at 6 p.m., the Community Development Block Grant Committee is looking for citizen input on how we fund, or not fund, how we spend the housing and urban development funds that we receive, roughly $600,000 a year. It's very important that we get community input on that. It's one of the major ways we redevelop our low to moderate income areas of town, both from a social services perspective as well as from an amenities, streets, curbs, gutters, those types of things. So here at City Hall, December 6th, 6 p.m.
Mr. King.
No, sir.
Councilman Vaughn.
Just on a follow-up to what Councilman T.J. Gilmore said, the city is also having its 5-year evaluation that needs to go to the federal government as to what the community sees as its needs to spend the money that will come to us from the CDBG program. And I'm not sure if it's happened already, but there was scheduled 2 meetings, and I would suggest that anybody that thinks that there is a need or something that needs to be addressed, try to partake in those meetings. Other than that, I'm just glad to be here and be part of this.
Counselor? Julie? I want to say congratulations to our city for this past weekend, having our Holiday at the Hall Festival. Some of the programs got weathered out or rained out, however you want to say it. We had some inclement weather move in. We had to cancel our Christmas parade and our motorcycle toy run. I understand we're still collecting a lot of toys for the kids, so we're in good shape there. But we did have a wonderful event, I think, over at the MCL Grand. Huge turnout, I think a lot bigger than we had actually anticipated. I think that's because it was indoors, and so many people had a place to go and something to do that morning. I want to give a special thanks to the Kiwanis Club for doing such a good job as they always do, for the Breakfast with Santa. And it was a huge turnout. And then having Santa Claus there, we had to talk Santa into staying extra because we had so many people there that were wanting to come by and see him. And I know he had to get back to the North Pole and get back to making those toys, but he appreciated him coming and staying extra time. We appreciate all the staff being there and all the volunteers that worked this weekend. It was a great turnout, and we appreciate that.
Mayor, can I say one more thing?
You go right ahead, sir.
As far as the this weekend, Holiday at the Hall, I have been led to believe by an honorable source that the city personnel put together a fabulous float. They didn't get to display it, but hopefully it'll be out here in front of the City Hall, weather permitting, in the future. I'm led to believe there's mechanical things and everything. It's a lot of hours, a lot of people involved in it. And if you see it and like it, you should pass that on to them. I understand they worked very hard. Thank you, Mayor.
You bet. In consideration with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.072, Real Estate Property Acquisition, and Section 551.087, Economic Development. Deliberation regarding economic development negotiations will now convene into closed session. Make everybody aware that's going on.
Okay.
Okay, council, call the regular session back into order. Is there any action to be taken?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion to adjourn by Councilman Green, a second by Councilman Vaughn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Chief, I'd like to